to talk about weeks ago why everybody needs a cow or a goat. Does that sound crazy? It's so simple, you know? If everybody has a cow, if everybody or let's say we have a cow between every two families, or a couple of goats, and a vegetable garden, at least 1 in 3 adults, if not 2 in 3, can stop working outside of the home. Wouldn't that be something? A cow, a goat, a vegetable garden. Now why? See, this is a thing. I started to talk about this weeks ago and then I just couldn't continue. Cows are holy in India, in Hindu areas. Why? Because the way they process the food that they put in their stomachs. Not only that, but basically, see, I was making a garden over here this year, and there's just all that we have here is this hard clay, this Indiana clay, which is not able to drain, and the plants can't grow in it. You know, if they don't have a problem having their feet wet all the time, there's not enough air getting into the soil. There's earthworms and all this stuff, but what we really need, what I really wanted at that point was that suddenly I finally understood why my collaborator was always putting me with these cows, making me work with these cows. Cow dung and the dung actually of any clove-toothed animal, like horses and, sheep, goats, they produce this wonderful fertilizer that makes the earth so fertile that you can immediately have a vegetable garden and have fantastic vegetables growing within the first year. Okay? And the garden that I have here on Curtis Avenue just is not doing a whole lot because, okay, the couple of things were growing okay, like I didn't have too much trouble to get the cabbage to come up. Okay, that was pretty hardy, but it was a real struggle, like beans and stuff, peas, forget it. They couldn't do anything, and tomatoes is also kind of an achingly slow process. But if I had a cow and the cow was giving dung, see, the cow gives not only the dung but also the milk, and this is why they don't kill them in Hindu countries, because the males they use for plowing, okay, and there's a skill associated with that, but basically that big bull, that bullock, pulls the plow, and the guy just kind of walks behind it and gives the cow the signal, the bullock the signal when to turn, and everything's okay. This is a really interesting thing. So the bullock is used for what? Pulling the carts, right? And pulling the plow. And then the female, of course, gives us the baby cows and milk. Okay? And they all give this wonderful product called cow dung. And the cow dung makes the earth so fertile that immediately you can have the most desolate areas, and within a few years you have good soil. Okay? And you can produce a lot of vegetables. So if every family, or let's say if every just two families had a couple of goats or a cow or something like this, and then they would see if that cattle wealth was spread among all these different families, in other words, instead of keeping 150 cows or 2,000 cows or 5,000 cows on one property and having all that cow dung there, where it's real hard to get it to where it needs to be. If you spread out all those cows and put one with each family or one with every other family, and the cow dung was spread across the earth in that way, then everybody would have their own little victory garden, and one person in 3 or 1 in 2 could stop working at a job somewhere. And what does that mean? That means that we're getting fresh vegetables out of the garden, which is totally healthy, and working in the earth is the most wonderful thing to do. Okay, this is a fact. The wealth comes from the earth first, okay? And wealth does not mean oil, as in crude oil that turns into gasoline, because that stuff is limited and that doesn't produce anything. All it means is that you can run here and run there, okay? And then it's gone. But okay, let me start again. I have to get my little book here. Food comes from, how does that verse go? All beings come from food. Food comes from rain. Rain comes from sacrifice, and sacrifice is rooted in action. Isn't that how it goes? Hang on. All beings come from food. Food comes from rain. Rain comes from sacrifice, and sacrifice is rooted in action. Actions originate from Brahman, the imperishable. Therefore, the all-pervading imperishable is always present in sacrifice. Okay. Food comes from the earth, and that's where wealth is. Wealth is in the earth. We're going to have to go back to a semi-agrarian society, and it's going to be an enrichment for everyone. Okay? And basically what's been happening in the last 100 years is that the big guys have come in and taken over the land to push the small people off of the land. And I mean, just look at what happened to the family farm between 1930 and 1975. Okay? Just look at it. If any of you were around during part of that time, you know what I'm talking about. People who were born after that are going to have to dig into it a little bit and find out what's going on. But I'm here to tell you, agribusiness has taken over the life of the nation, and this has made a lot of people poor. And basically they did it through subsidies, government subsidies, which means welfare for the corporations. Okay, I don't want to get political. I just want to tell you this is the vision. The vision is that every family has a cow or a couple of goats, or every 2 families. Between every 2 families there's a cow and a couple of goats, or some animal that is producing milk and dung to make the earth fertile. Okay, then it would be also cool. I mean, the women can go out and work and do the jobs, and we could have stay-at-home dads who run the farm and take care of the animals and take care of it. But small plots of land, enough to take care of a family or 2 families or 3 families in one garden. This is a really cool thing, guys. Really cool idea. To spread it out so that everywhere, that every little plot of land is being used for growing vegetables and grass for the animals. Okay? Then we have, what do we have? We have milk, we have cheese, we have yogurt, we have cow dung and cow urine, which are the 2 most wonderful fertilizers on the face of the earth. Fertile land means riches. Because what does it mean? It means that 2 people are now working and struggling to get by so that you can run to Walmart or Myers or wherever it is, Rayleigh's or wherever you go, to purchase your food and pay top dollar for something that is carted in from 150 miles, 300 miles, 1,500 miles, 2,000 miles away, or further than that. Okay? Doesn't make much sense. So, local foods grown by everybody. Okay? And everybody has their own little garden. Everybody has their own cow. Everybody has that source. Then that means that we can get rid of some of the cars that we have. Okay? Right? So you could have 1 car between 2 families, or 2 cars between 2 families, instead of 3 or 4 or 5 cars between 2 families. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the statistic is right now. Okay? But we have it in this country. And people will stop running up and down and wasting a lot of time on the freeway wasting a lot of time on this. Stop wasting time on the cell phone, on the freeway, etc., etc. Okay. We have to go back to the land. That's because that's where the riches are. Okay. So it'll be so cool and so easy to do this. Just get your head there. Just have to get our heads there and change a couple of laws about keeping cows in the city limits. Okay? You figure the rest of it out, because we're past 10 minutes here and you know what I'm talking about.